When you hear CNG, the first thing that comes to mind, apart from being affordable in terms of running cost, is compromise. Compromise when it comes to premiumness, features, practicality, and engine performance. But Tata with the Altroz iCNG is saying no, that is not the case. Well, is it really true? The first problem that people generally have with CNG cars is the fact that they don't look premium. But the Altroz is a little different because yes, it does come in the top-end XZ Plus option variant, so you get all the goodies like projector headlamps, fog lamps, LED DRLs, nice looking 16-inch alloy wheels, a contrasting black roof, and the only way to tell apart that yes, this is a CNG is the badge on the boot lid. And apart from that, the car itself is now 3 years old, but it has aged really well. Even today, it is one of the most handsome, most attractive looking hatchbacks that you can buy in the country. And the second problem people generally have is the fact that the interiors won't really feel premium, which is not the case with the Altroz because you do get all the premium materials like leatherette upholstery, leather wrapped steering wheel, and overall the interior fit and finish is also pretty decent. Yes, it is not the best in the segment, but it is something that you won't really complain about. But if there is one thing that definitely should have been better overall in the Altroz is the touchscreen infotainment system. It has a small 7-inch display, it is not really high-res, and even in terms of functionality, it feels a little outdated. Now, we do expect the bigger 10.25-inch screen to come on the Altroz. In fact, Tata had shown the Altroz Racer Edition with that screen, which you do get on the Harrier and the Safari as well. When will it come? We expect it to come around end of this year. Even in terms of features, you almost get everything. You get premium features like a wireless phone charger, leatherette upholstery, a touchscreen infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And now with the Altroz, you also get a sunroof which is voice activated both in English as well as Hindi. Now there are two things that are missing on the Altroz CNG as compared to the standard car. One, the instrumentation, which is a bit basic as compared to the standard car, where in the standard car you get part digital, part analog display, and you also miss on cruise control. Now the Altroz was always a practical car and that still remains. So up front you get loads of storage spaces, a huge glove box, big door pockets both at the front and the rear. And when it comes to rear seat space, you have loads of knee room, headroom is fine as well, and the car is wide enough for 3 people to sit comfortably. But the biggest question is the boot. How have they packaged the tanks? And surprise, surprise, unlike in most other CNG versions of other cars, you do get decent amount of boot space. So you get around 210 liters of boot space, which is down by around 135 liters as compared to the standard car. Now, how have Tata done that? Well, they have been smart about it. Instead of giving one big tank in the boot, they have split it up into 2 halves. As a result, the tanks are slimmer and sit lower down in the boot, so you do get decent amount of boot space. So the Altroz CNG is powered by a 1.2 litre motor. In petrol mode, it makes 88 PS of power, while in CNG mode, it makes 73.5 PS of power, which is a drop of around 15 PS. But the good thing is, while driving in the city, you don't really feel a difference. Yes, there is a difference in terms of the throttle response, where in CNG mode, it feels a little laid back, while in petrol mode, it feels more immediate. The difference between the two modes, the CNG and petrol, is more apparent when you're going faster. If you encounter a slight gradient, where in the petrol mode, you might get away with 3rd or 4th, in the CNG mode, you have to downshift into 3rd or 2nd. Out on the highway while overtaking, you do miss the punch of a proper powerful petrol engine, even in petrol mode. And in CNG mode, it is even worse. So you do have to shift quite a lot and plan a lot in advance to overtake. In fact, while driving out on the highway, I kept switching in between petrol and CNG mode depending on if I want to overtake, or while cruising, CNG mode is fine. And this is where the diesel engine will have an edge, especially if you do a lot of highway miles. Then the diesel engine does make a lot more sense. Let's get other bits out of the way as well. Ride and handling. This traditionally has been a huge strength of the Altroz, and it still remains. It rides beautifully over most surfaces. The only place where we feel that it can get better is in terms of sound insulation, where you do get a lot of road noise. But other than that, it's a very comfortable car to travel in. And then there's the handling, which not only feels sporty, but also it feels very secure even when you're pushing hard. And out on the highway, straight line stability too is very good. Now you might have a question, how many kilometers you will be able to do on a full tank of CNG? Well, that is something that we can't answer right now, because when you switch to CNG mode, there's no distance to empty meter. And yes, we'll do a proper drive to death where we'll fill up the CNG tank and run it till the time it runs out of CNG to know exactly how many kilometers does it do. But as a prediction, we feel it'll do in the region of 200 to 220 kilometers on a full tank of CNG. Overall, the Altroz iCNG proves to be a good package. And the great thing is that you can choose from 6 different variants. So you can ideally pick the right Altroz iCNG for you depending on your needs. And this is where we feel that Tata has been really clever, where they are not only offering the iCNG version of this car in the low variants, but also in the top variants. So there's no compromise when it comes to premiumness, both on the outside as well as the inside. Tata has also been very clever in the way they have packaged the CNG tanks, where despite that you have decent amount of boot space. If there's a compromise, then it is in terms of performance in CNG mode. Yes, in the city it does have enough power, but out on the highway you do feel that it could have done with a bit more punch, especially while overtaking. So with the Altroz iCNG, you pay a premium of around 90,000 rupees as compared to the standard car. So if you do a lot of city driving, then the iCNG makes a lot of sense. But if you do a lot of highway driving, then it makes more sense to pay around 60,000 more than the iCNG and get the diesel version instead, which will have better performance.